Back again with a new video. So I have a pile of French items, and then I'll show off something from Egypt, or a few things from Egypt, and then Germany. You can probably guess what the German item is, since the Greiling album is right in front of you. But starting off is this photograph of Paolo Nurmi. So he was a Finnish runner, ran competitions in the 20s and 30s. He had a nickname. Oh, shoot. Flying Finn, I think. Plus, there was another runner who I've showed off a postcard in the past that I have from 1912. I can't remember his name either, but he also had that same nickname. But yeah, so this is dated 1922. So I thought this was a pretty cool pickup. The next are three postcards, photo cards, photographs of from France, all from the same seller. So this is 1930 photograph of the Swiss national team. That was pretty cool. These will go with my Laurens, one Greiling, and another set that I have coming in. That'll be the next video. For every set of cards, I want a photograph of the team the cards represent. So that was a fun Swiss pickup. Same thing for this one, 1926-27 Vienna football team. So this is before Sindelar. It's before oh my goodness, Joseph. Man, today's been such a long day of traveling. I am forgetting everybody on that team. I forget who's shown here. I should have made a note. But my favorite is this 1926 photograph of Sparta Prague. The biggest name on this team at the time is the goalkeeper. His name was František Planenka. In Czech, it's pronounced differently, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. So this is from 26. He has a Greiling from 26, and then he shows up in Monopol. He shows up in another set, and then for Czech sets, he shows up in the 1933 Libo Litovell set, and then the 1934 Star set, and then he shows up in the 34 and the 35 sets for Ilsa Sweets. But the Greiling is probably his most wanted card. I've only ever seen one sell. I know 3 people with at least one copy. Maybe 4, if I think about it. Yeah, I think 4 people for sure. Yeah, so those 4 were purchased from France. I think they're all French photographs. The next items are from Cairo, from an antique dealer from Cairo. And I was looking for a series of postcards that I've shown off before. Let me grab an example. So this set, I have the 6 postcards showing soccer players. There were 2 more that I knew of, which showed Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston. And I wanted those more than soccer players. I just couldn't find them for sale. And the antique dealer was able to track him down, and he found me 3. He found me 2 of one copy and then 1 of the other. So I'll show those off after I show off everything else I bought from him. Because when I mentioned Muhammad Ali, he was like, he showed me a bunch of cool stuff, and I also bought a series of posters and photographs showing various Egyptian teams, Zamalek and Al Ali, from the 60s and onward to the early 2000s. So I have that. I'm not going to show those off because it's all packaged up in a stack because it's all fragile. And I also got 2 magazines, one from 1931 that shows Egyptian club soccer. It's rather big. It's still in its packaging as well. I don't think I'm going to take it out. But inside it's got a bunch of photographs of the teams and descriptions and Arabic, and I don't know, it's super cool. You don't get to find much Egyptian items. But I know a few photographs. I have a postcard from the 20s. And here's a 1928 magazine detailing Egypt's run in the 1928 Olympics. They were in the 28 Olympics and they were in the 1924 Olympics. So that's pretty cool. So those 2. I want to get a larger magazine collection of places that don't offer very many cards or photographs. So Egypt was one. What else? Morocco was another one. Like early 1920s and 30s. Chile, Peru were 2 more. Plus Turkey was another big one. So those are all countries that I'm looking for various magazines. And then so now on to the super cool stuff, like the Muhammad Ali stuff. So here is an Arabic version of the 1978 DC comic of Superman versus Muhammad Ali. I don't know too much about this. It seems like a knockoff in Egypt of the comic book, because it doesn't have the DC emblem. It doesn't have any of this stuff on the top. But I just thought it was really cool. I couldn't find any information on a Arabic version of this comic book. But the English version is pretty sought after. It gets, a little bit over $100 to get in good condition. So I thought this was well worth it, because it's nice to have for display. When I eventually set up a shelf for Muhammad Ali, because I have several more items outside of this 1960s small poster in Arabic of Muhammad Ali, or Cassius Clay. And then the long-awaited postcards that I've been after since I found out they existed. So this set is a photograph printed on top of a postcard, because you can see the dated lines, the dotted lines, and where you would place the stamp. This is dated 64 to 66 because it is from a magazine issue. These were either inserted in the magazine or purchased from the maker of the magazine. I'm not too sure. But on the back of every single one is some sort of Egyptian actor or actress. So yeah. So there's Muhammad Ali and Cassius, Sony Liston. And I have 2. I might sell one of them, but for right now, I think I'm going to hold on to both. Pretty happy with having 2 of those. And then the other one, that was definitely the hardest to track down. Close-up of Muhammad Ali. It's just fantastic. I absolutely love this photograph. But yeah, so I'm very happy to have all of those. Finally, I deleted that picture on my wanted list. Ever since I found out that postcard existed, or photograph, or whatever the issue was. Being Arabic from the mid 60s is, couldn't ask for a better item for Muhammad Ali. I just like the idea of it being in Arabic, being from a different country. So here is another Greiling album. If you watch my previous videos, I showed one totally complete. 220 cards in the album. It didn't have a single player I was after. I wasn't too mad because I was happy to have a whole album for my collection for the Greiling. But now, since I have this one, I plan on taking this one apart, taking all the cards out of it. But I took the 7 that I was after initially, and then I'm going to see which ones I have in the total, like 905 card run, because I'm not counting the last 28 to 30, because it goes from like 905 to 932, and those are all short prints. They're like extremely rare. People are searching for them. They're on a lot of people's lists. The Greiling of the Czech goalkeeper I mentioned earlier, his card, that rookie, his earliest issue, is in that 905 to 932 set. So is an Austrian captain, Johann Horvath. His card is also in that set, plus several others, and it's just, they're on my list. I want to get them someday. I don't really know how I'll be able to find them. I mean, a number of the Greiling cards I don't know how I'm going to find, but I found 7 of them in one album, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I might want to go after a complete Greiling set. It doesn't matter if it's small Greiling, medium Greiling, but as long as I get a representation of every player, maybe. That's down the line. First, I want to get the Greilings on my list. There are about 20 more that I want. So of the ones, I'm not going to pry this open because it's already in the midst of being taken apart. Some of it's cut up. Here are the ones that have been taken out, and most of these were taken out just because they were on the other side of the 7 that I wanted. So and I think these are just in phenomenal condition since they're 1926 black and white Greiling. So now we get into the 7 that I was after, and the person who sold it was only selling it in Germany, not shipping outside of Europe. So of course I knew I was going to go hard. Oh, the lights just cut out. That's weird. I knew I was going to go hard on the album. I didn't know about 5 of the 7 cards, but I knew the last 2 that I'm about to show, and I knew that this was going to be one of my last chances at getting this card for cheaper, rather than waiting for an auction or waiting for it to sell in the Discord, because a few weeks prior it sold for $1,500, and that was one with a crease going down the middle. And then 1 or 2 sold in the Discord group right after for like $2,000, $3,000. And so I thought I missed the chance of getting one for cheaper than those prices. But I didn't. I was able to pick one up for a great price. So, this is probably one in the roughest shape. Here's the back. Pretty sharp. The edges are sharp. It's great. Jimmy Hogan. His earliest card is from the early 1900s, 1912 maybe, 1911, something like that. This was pretty cool. It's got paper loss on the back. It's the only one of this of the 7 that has that much uh, degree of paper loss. So John Van Eyck, his earliest card. Kahoot. I hope I pronounced that right. That's his earliest card. Here's the back. Max Abegilin. He was a Swiss national. This is his earliest card. I showed off his Lauren the other day. So 1926, 1934. Bakir. This is not his earliest. His earliest is 1925 Manoli. However, almost an impossible card. Not on my list. I don't go after the Manolis. So to me, this is his earliest. There's some argument that the Manoli was 1926 as well. So who knows? I don't. I'm gonna go with 1925. But I'm happy to have that. I'm not looking for the Manoli set. It's too difficult. To me, it's like the Ida set. I'm just not going to chase after it because it's too much of a hassle. There's too many eyes for it. I'm going to have to pay too much money if it ever comes to auction. I don't want to bug German sellers too much to part with their collection. So I'm not going to. If it falls in my lap, I'll be happy, but I'm not going to lose any sleep about not getting it. And so the Bakir, I saw when the album was being advertised, I saw the Bakir, and then I saw Orth, Gregory Orth. And I knew I needed to get the album when I saw the Orth. It was on the second page of the album, second or third page, and it was just like right there. I knew people were going to look at it and see it, so I bid a really high number. I did not get it for the high number I bid. It was several $100s below what I bid. But yeah, it's just so sharp. It's got some mark on the front, purple, because there was some of these were stamped on the back, and this one was stamped. And I actually prefer it stamped. I like the character. It is just a beautiful card. It's centered-ish, it's a little tilted. It has sharp corners, and yeah, it's just a perfect Orth in my eyes. I love it. There's no creases on this at all. And with that, that's everything I got to show. If you have any questions about anything, just leave a comment or message me in the Discord group. I appreciate it. Peace.